end of 2021 hasn't been easy for PlayStation VR gamers. We're not so patiently awaiting more news on PlayStation VR 2, and the number of games coming down the pipeline for our current headset is dwindling. But there's still plenty to be excited about over the next few months. So without further ado, here are the top 10 games coming to PlayStation VR in 2022. Transformers VR probably would have ranked a little bit higher on this list if we actually knew what kind of game it was going to be. All the gameplay so far looks suspiciously like a rail shooter, which is totally fine, as long as it's a good rail shooter. Things could go horribly wrong here, but considering this team does actually have some VR experience, things could also go really well. We've been waiting for news on the PlayStation VR version of Soul Calibur for literally years now. Sadly, when developer Xreal finally broke their silence, they revealed that they ended up scrapping the port of the PC version and decided instead to bring over the truncated Quest game. Still though, it's a modern military co-op shooter, and we could certainly use a few more of those on PSVR. The Ultrawings 2 reveal was a bit of a rollercoaster ride for PSVR gamers. At first it wasn't coming to PSVR 1 at all, with an enhanced PSVR 2 version coming sometime later. But now it does seem like a PSVR 1 version, which will likely be a port of the Quest 2 version, is actually in the works. This bigger, more ambitious sequel promises hundreds of missions, along with optional combat missions that should last upwards of 40 to 60 hours. I'm really hoping my optimism for Do Not Open doesn't end up biting me in the ass, but despite the wishy-washy quality we've gotten from other PlayStation Talents-funded projects, I'm really excited for this one. It's being described as a procedurally generated escape room that's different every time you play. The trailers do look really good, and if the puzzles and scares deliver, I'm all in. Running, sliding, and jumping from rooftop to rooftop in a game immediately makes me think of Dying Light. And wouldn't that be amazing in VR? But until that happens, we might have to get our parkour kicks from Stride, a first-person run-and-gunner that screams Mirror's Edge. It's currently made up of 3 arcade modes, but the team over at Joyway have been teasing a full campaign for Stride for a while now, which will be added post-launch, and it looks really impressive. Originally expected on PlayStation VR more than a year ago, Dash Dash World is set to fill the void that Activision left when they remastered Crash Team Racing for PS4, and for whatever reason, didn't make it playable in VR. Developer Motion X Studios assures us that the PlayStation VR version will be the most complete version of the game, with cross-platform play, more than 14 tracks at launch, new campaigns, weapons, and seasonal tournaments. It's been a really long time since we've heard anything new about Undead Citadel, right? But rest assured it is still coming, and let's be honest, it looks really, really good. If you're like me and prefer sprawling levels and narrative over arena fighting, Undead Citadel has a lot to be excited about. Expect 10 levels, great physics, and a horde mode when this elusive PSVR game finally releases. Seeing studios like Survios release game after game after game for the last 5 years, it's been really interesting to see just how long developer Polyarc took to announce their second VR title, a follow-up to their wildly successful puzzle platformer, Moss. Moss Book 2 looks to expand on the formula that made the first game so great, with new mechanics, environments, enemies, and the ability to charge Quill's weapons. Somehow after 5 years, we still haven't gotten a proper MMO on PSVR, despite the promise of MetaWorld, Elysium, and others. Luckily, the one we're getting first, Zenith VR, looks like the best of the bunch. It's got a great graphical style reminiscent of Phantasy Star Online on Dreamcast, and the most recent trailer boasts some pretty impressive environments, some awesome flying mechanics, and let us know that we're only days away from the first beta on PlayStation VR.
Isn't it, Asher? And you've managed to bend, if not nearly break it.
During a time where new PlayStation VR games are few and far between, seeing one on the horizon that's as high quality and as ambitious as Wanderer pushes it to the top of our list in a heartbeat. Developers Oddboy and M-Theory have been showing off various environments that play into its time travel motif. Everything from being on the moon to playing drums on a stage to post-apocalyptic settings that seem like they're ripped straight out of The Last of Us. Learning how all these stages will ultimately connect and finding out what the moment-to-moment gameplay is like has our interest piqued, and January 27th can't come fast enough.